Oh, wow. Okay, maybe I should have worn the hat. Maybe I should have worn the hat today. Nah, I don't need to. Just a little bit of damn, I never get this fixed up. Okay. Well, yep. What's going on? Welcome back to another Western Star movie reviews video stream, whatever you want to call it. I'm your host Hunter West, and this is another week of reviewing films, talking about the news, talking about the box office, talking about everything else that's going on. And please, if you're new here, welcome. I do this every Wednesday at 12 o'clock, and I do it until 1. Try to give as much time for me as possible. And yeah, we got a very exciting, good episode today. We got 3 movies to talk about. Not some good movies, but not the best movies. We also got some news regarding the box office, future films coming out in the future, and us maybe a surprise cancellation nobody expected to happen. So yeah. Actually, I'm gonna get my hat real quick because my hair is a mess. I'll be right back. Sorry. Already a minute in, and we haven't even got started. So today's movies are consisting of a film that came out months ago in theaters, but didn't make a lot of money, and that was Blacklight, starring Liam Neeson, a new action movie. We also got a new theatrical film for Halloween, Pray for the Devil, a new exorcism movie starring who knows who, and a new Amazon Prime video that was originally to go to theaters 2 years ago that I was still excited for. Left me disappointed, called Run Sweetheart Run. Plus, we got some news regarding this weekend's box office. So some cancellations of some shows that probably nobody cared about, but also some new additions as well. Let's get into the videos, shall we? And I think what we're gonna do is probably talk about the movie news first, because I think I want to do the box office right away, and then we can, get on with the rest of the films to talk about. So let's get started with the um actual Beat Them box office that came out. So yeah, last weekend, Black Adam took again first place 2 weeks in a row for the number one spot in the box office, grossing an effective $27.7 million with a 59% decline. Last weekend, the film opened to a staggering $67 million, which was this is at the time right now. If Dwayne Johnson decides to do another one of these movies, the highest opening or the biggest opening weekend of all time for a Dwayne Johnson movie, and one of the lower amounts, middle for DC. But um, so this the movie holds steeper percentage drop than a few of Dwayne Johnson's other movies. For example, it has a steeper drop than other films such as Rampage, which got a 44% drop, Skyscraper with a 54% drop, and San Andreas with a 53% drop. All were Dwayne Johnson movies, all of which were number one, excluding Skyscraper, which did not debut at number one a week when the film released. And it also has um, a steeper drop than some of the other. Oh wow, my arm is red. It also has a steeper drop than some of the other DC movies that came out before it, like this year's Batman, which declined only 50% after opening to $134 million. Justice League, the 2017 one, which opened to 93 or $97 million, did a 56% drop and did better than other DC movies such as Green Lantern with a 66% drop, and the Suicide Squad in 2016 with Margot and Will Smith at a 67% drop. Despite this, Black Adam is flying past 100 million domestically by EOD with 111 million right now. Johnson's 18th movie to fly Johnson has his 18th movie to fly past 100 million at the domestic box office. A dully note of that 10-day gross of Black Adam is ahead of Johnson's Fast and Furious spin-off Hobbs and Shaw, which at this point would have debuted to 108.3. Consumable worldwide, Black Adam stands about $250 million worldwide. And a lot of people have been speculating the question, will this movie bomb in the box office? I don't think so. I think that the film needs to have a moderate drop. It doesn't need to go, it needs to stay in the double digits for its second week, maybe 15 higher than 15. If this movie can get higher than 15 million on its third weekend, then I think it's going to do well domestically, and I think it probably will do better worldwide because apparently there's a China release date which comes out on the November 11th, which is the same weekend that Black Panther comes out in the United States. And the China box office really needs to strive. I mean, it didn't help it for, I would say, Thor: Love and Thunder or Doctor Strange, and those movies were projected to make $1 billion, especially Doctor Strange. Only made 955 after opening to $180 million in the domestic box office weekend, which also staves the question or brings up the question: if Black Adam bombs, does this mean a cancellation for the whole DC universe? Absolutely not. They already filmed all the other films. They already filmed Shazam 2. They already filmed The Flash. They already filmed Blue Beetle, Aquaman, The Lost Kingdom. They already did all that. So they're not going to cancel it. And it will be surprising because they're all like big budget movies that need to strive in order to keep this universe going. Because the movie has a production budget of like 195 to near $200 million. So it would need to make at least 400 or more in order to break even. So speaking of the movie review, Pray for the Devil, that movie opened up to $7 million in third place. Lionsgate was projecting the film near there. It arrives with Halloween Ends in the horror business, finishing its third weekend with 60 million plus in the domestic box office, and The Smile up almost nearing $100 million $100 million in domestic box office, and that movie is doing really well in the box office right now for for rated R horror movie. Other films came out before it. So number one, Black Adam with 27.7, Ticket to Paradise 10 million, Pray for the Devil with $7 million, Smile with 5.05 million, Halloween Ends with 3.83 million, Till 2.81, Lie Aloud Crocodile 2.83, Terrifier 2 1.8, Woman King 1.11, and Tar 1.04. So yeah, there is that, which is the box office daily for today. So let's instead go on into the movie reviews and talk about the films that came out or the films that I watched this weekend. And let's start out with the film I just mentioned, or no, let's actually mention the first movie that I talked about or that I watched this weekend, and that was a film called Blacklight. Blacklight is a film that came out February 11th and was released in theaters and didn't do so well in theaters. It grossed 9.4 million in the United States and worldwide made $15 million. The budget of this thing was 43, so it tanked. Got horrendous reviews from people. Currently, it has a 10% on Rotten Tomatoes and an 82% audience score, so the audience loves it way more than the critics. And the critic consensus of this movie on Rotten Tomatoes is turn it off. Literally just turn it off. So the movie is about a guy named Travis Block, played by Liam Neeson, and he is a government operative coming to terms with his shadowy past, and he discovers a plot where the FBI is targeting U.S. citizens and he finds himself in the crosshairs of the director he once helped protect. And the real main of it all is the fact that political activist Sophia is killed in an apparent hit and run outside of her home. War veteran Travis Block works as a fixer for the director of the FBI, Gabriel Robinson. Travis wants to retire and spend more time with his daughter and granddaughter. Mira is a journalist who claims to have information about Sophia's death and prove it wasn't an accident. She got intel from Dusty. Dusty also claims to have information about a top secret FBI operation called Project Unity, which kills innocent civilians like Sophia. Gabriel tells Travis that his last assignment is to bring in Dusty Crane. Travis has no choice now but to confront his FBI boss with this information. Who is speaking the truth? That is the plot of the film I just described. It is an hour and 45 minutes long, and it was a box office bomb. It was panned by critics, with many naming it amongst the worst of Neeson's career. It wasn't long enough after the film was released to go straight to video on demand on March 3rd. So there's a lot of things to talk about with this movie. Number one, it was a theater only movie. At the time, it was released only in theaters. It was also a film that starred Liam Neeson, well-known action guy, well-known man in the action business. He has made some decent movies, great movie in Taken, and then over the years, he's kind of made the same old movies over and over again, nonstop, or Run All Night, Living Next to the Tombstones, all these bland action movies. I mean, I can go through all of them that he has done, and it's quite frankly kind of sad. I mean, he's done, what is it? Taken, he was in Clash of the Titans. He was in the A-Team. Then he did a bunch of other bunch of random films, like he did Unknown. He was in The Gray, which was a really good Liam Neeson movie. I've heard from people. I have not seen it yet. And then he started to do the other movies. He did Taken 2, which was terrible. He did Nonstop, Walk Among the Tombstones, Taken 3. Then you get moving on the list, and then you have Run All Night. He what did he do? Oh no, he did The Commuter, Cold Pursuit, which was a Netflix movie. Was it a Netflix movie? No, it was released in theater. I was thinking of something else, but it was a film that was released in theaters. Then he did Honest Thief, which was in 2020. Now, this is when he started to do just every year he's doing an action movie, because in 2020 he did a film that was released in October 16th, 2020, called Honest Thief. Made some money. And it was released in theaters exclusively. Then he also did The Marksman in 2021, which was pretty much like the same movie. He's an action hero. Then he did The Ice Road, which was a Netflix film that came out, which I actually heard was mediocre at best. Then he did this movie, and then he did another film that I'm going to probably have to check out called Memory. And then he's also doing some other films. Another movie he's doing called Marlowe, which I assume is a Liam Neeson action. No, it's a neo-noir thriller. My mistake. But I think he's doing another action, upcoming thriller called Retribution. So he's doing a bunch of these other action movies, which are easy for him to do because they're a quick buck. And so, what do I think of Blacklight? I've been talking about Liam Neeson's career. I've been talking about some other things. What do I think of Blacklight? It's probably the worst action movie I have seen in the past 5-10 years. It's terrible. It's not good. It's awful. Do not watch it. Do not see it. Do not even think about it. It is everything that you know is bad about action movies rolled up into one. You know, it's the same plot you've seen from a Liam Neeson movie over and over again. Somebody is framed for something, or Liam Neeson has to do some dirty work for somebody, and then he realizes, oh no, that's not what I want to do. I actually want to do this. And so now he has to fight an old friend of his. It's like the same thing, and it ends with something, it's a cliche movie. You've seen it multiple times from Neeson himself, and it's sad to see that this guy, he's probably turning into the next Bruce Willis, where he's doing a lot of these straight to video, straight to streaming or DVD, whatever you want to call it, straight to video action movies. It's kind of honestly embarrassing at this point. It's kind of disappointing to see that some of the greatest actors of all time are doing these types of things. And I feel like Liam Neeson has been doing it recently. I saw both his movie trailers in theaters, and I just said, like, those just look like the basic action movies you've seen in the past years. Nothing's new, nothing's different. And so I don't consider myself a fan, but like he really needs to step his game up. Um, the acting. Let's start out with everything that it sucks about the movie. The writing is terrible. At a point of this movie, it just confused the hell out of me. Didn't understand what was going on. Doesn't work. It doesn't really click in my own head. It was just lazy. It felt like 2 hours long. It's not. It's an hour and 46 minutes, which feels like 2 hours. It's a long movie, and there's so many scenes that don't need to be in it that just drag it, like unnecessary chase sequences involving a dump truck and involving a normal car when he's arrested and about to get arrested by the police, or some guys, you know, running, doing a chase thing. It's just all over the place. The action in this movie is filmed incompetently. It's a lot of slow fighting, like a lot of hitting and just like a lot of slowness to it. It's lazy. It shows that the action choreographer who was in this film, who did the action stunts, was not up to par, did not know what he was doing, and it shows. Then you got these characters you don't care about. Liam Neeson's character is the same character he's been playing. you know, he's he now has to uncover a secret involving an old friend of his and a past that he has to do. It's just all over the place. It's just it is insane to me. It's insane that he would do something like this, and this is low budget of a low budget. It would make sense if this movie was straight to video, on demand or streaming, because like, okay, yeah, it makes sense. This movie's bad, but this is a made for theater movie that was only being played in theaters, and I waited until a couple months to watch it because I didn't want to watch it then, and so now it's on Prime Video for free, and it's awful. It's really bad. I don't understand what they were thinking making this movie. It's all over the place. The action, like I said, is filmed incompetently. There's a scene involving a kitchen where there's so many quick cuts, weird angles. The gunshots are like there's like a PNG. It looks like they put a PNG of like something like of flashing lights on it to make it sound like, oh, something's shooting. It's all like very slow and very boring. It's a boring film. It'd be one thing if you were invested in a bad movie, but if you're bored in a bad movie, that's a whole different story. It's not well made, it's not well acted either. Even Liam Neeson, some of his line deliveries are just not good. Like, there's a scene where he's confronting his boss for the FBI, and there's two people next to him as like bodyguards when he's at his house, and he says to him, because his family was taken, by the way, a taken reference, but they don't do a taken joke in there. But he says to him, if you had anything to do with my family disappearing, you're gonna need more men. And that's the tagline for the movie. They're going to need more men is the tagline for this movie. It's so stupid. It's like, I know that it's a tagline, but like, come on, nobody uses taglines anymore. Even if it's a tagline, it's probably going to sound something stupid. And so it's all over the plate. Then they introduce all these other characters. This journalist that has no right to be in the movie. This other guy, um, who has like the information. He's constantly running away from Neeson. There's a scene that made no sense to me where he's handcuffed in his own car. He's handcuffed to in his car. Liam Neeson's going to a daycare to pick up his granddaughter, and there's this random kid just walking by his car, and the door is open. He didn't bother to shut the door. He didn't bother to shut it, close it to make sure, oh, he doesn't escape. He's out of the car, the door's open, and the guy's like, hey, kid, can I see your buttons? And then he's escaping, and then he escapes in like a garbage truck in like the most annoying and most like weird chase that you can find. It's not really well made. It's not a well shot movie. It's not a well acted movie. The dialogue is all over the place. And the movie opens with a bunch of Confederate rednecks, or like the main first action sequence is like a bunch of Confederate rednecks who are outside this random home, and we don't know who's in the home. There are these two police officers that have guns, and as soon as pull out, they're like, "Hey, back off, buddy." They're all like, just they pull out random things. It's like one of them has like a shotgun he's holding with his one arm, and he's like, "No, you get out of the way." It's so bad. And then and then Liam Neeson comes around and is like, I'm gonna think of a plan right away. And he's like, I'm gonna take these gas canisters and put one near the microwave, and then I'm gonna make that explode. And it's like the worst explosion CGI you can think of. And so that was something that had nothing to do with anything in the movie. It was just a random scene to show you, oh, Liam Neeson's a badass. We know he's a badass. We know what he does. He kicks ass every movie. It's like, what are you doing? Why do we need to see this? And so that's bad. And the movie ends with like the worst line of dialogue where it's like, promise me you're not going to bring any weapons to my daughter's birthday party. And it's like, no, I'm not going to. How do you feel about explosions? Really, it's not good. I mean, it's just embarrassing to think that this is the movie that Liam Neeson's doing now, when he could be doing other films like DC movies, or better yet, maybe other big action movies that people know exist, instead of these made for TV looking films that are put in theaters just to make 2 million bucks on its opening weekend and bomb in the box office with a 30 million budget. It's obvious he's tanking his career. I don't care. It's like he's messing his style up. And unfortunately, it's going to look like that if he keeps making these bad action movies. And there's barely anybody you recognize in this movie. Nobody that you've seen, like, oh, I've seen this guy in that movie. I've seen this person in that movie. Or I've seen this woman in this show. You haven't seen anybody in this movie. Other than Liam Neeson, nobody's relevant. Nobody cares about this movie. So yeah, like I said, I would be like, it's a D minus if this was like a made for TV film, but even then I would still give it an F. But this was a movie that was released in theaters, in over thousands of actual screens, and it stars one of the greatest actors of all time, Liam Neeson. So yeah, I am going to give this an F. This is an F. It is a 1 out of 10. It is not a movie you need to recommend, or I recommend people see. It is just bad. It's not good. The only reason why it gets a 1 out of 10 is because I would say it looks decently bright, or Liam Neeson is at least trying. You can tell it's all over the place. It's not good. So next movie that I review that I saw this weekend is Pray for the Devil. This is a This movie is a 2000 is a supernatural exorcism movie that stars Jacqueline Byers, Colin Salmon, Christian Navarro, Lisa Palfrey, Nicholas Rolfe, Virginia Madsen, and Ben Cross. I'll give you 10 seconds to think, or I'll give you 20 minutes to think about who those people are, because I didn't know anybody in this movie other than maybe Virginia Madsen, because she was in the Nightmare on Elm Street remake. And I would say maybe Ben Cross, because he kind of looks like Spot, but then again, actually, no. He's not even in the Star Trek. Oh no, he is in Star Trek. So yeah, I recognize him from a Star Trek movie. Um So what? So this movie is pretty much like every exorcism movie you've seen before, but this one there's like a twist of this movie. So there's this sister who is accepted into this school, or who's accepted into this, this institution, this church, and nuns are forbidden to perform exorcisms, and one of the fathers recognizes her gifts, to include passion and use empathy with the victims. And so there's this case where this girl is possessed by a demon, and she kind of recognizes a demon because it says something to her that her mother used to say when she was possessed by a demon. And now she's saying, I think that this demon has something to do with my mother, and I think I know who it is. I have to fight it. And so this is the movie, and it is without a doubt one of the most boring experiences I have seen in the theater, and also probably one of the more rude experiences I've had in a theater, especially with the woman next to me. But that was the only thing I had seen that was talked about, is that the woman next to me was really annoying. And then there was two girls sitting on the end that constantly were talking. I could hear them. Like, I don't know what they were doing. Someone were on their phones. Let me just preface this by saying this: if you're going to pay for a movie, like you're going to waste 15 plus bucks on a film that you're going to see, make sure it's worth your money. Don't be on your phone. Don't talk while the movie's happening. Watch the film. Don't be rude and stream all this nonsense, or talk while the film's going on. Let the woman next to me. Don't do that. Don't be rude. Don't be stupid, and watch the damn film. That's my little rant. That was the same thing that happened with me with Smile, where there was just a bunch of other kids in there that were just being rude and selfish, and I wanted to say something, and apparently, unfortunately, there was a seat next to my father on the left side of him with that had the woman sitting next to him, or there was two seats, and one of the seats had the lady, one of the seats was empty, and I was sitting on the right side, and my dad said, if someone comes, you need to sit there, because that's what I bought the seat with. And so I was like, okay, fine, I'll just do it, because maybe somebody will come. Nobody came, and it was a horrible decision, because the woman next to me, all she did was be like laughing at scenes that don't have comedy, be talking very loud in certain things. And then she would be on her phone. She would have it open, and she would just be on her phone, not caring about anything. She would be watching them. She wouldn't be watching the movie. And it's just like, just, I wanted to take the phone and just throw it. I wanted to throw it. She was annoying. Like, come on. You're watching a movie, you're paying for a ticket. Be considerate for people, okay? Be considerate. At least don't be like an a-hole. Just be nice, okay? Be nice. And I wanted to leave right away because I didn't want to be near her. I wanted to leave. She sounded like she was smoking a lot. I don't know. But yeah, the movie. I could barely tell you anything about this movie. This movie is one of the most boring films I've seen. If you've seen an exorcism movie, you see how this thing goes. There's somebody, a sister or a father, who's connected to a demon, and then there's maybe a child or somebody that they know and love that is possessed by a demon, and now there's something that needs to happen, and it ends very cliched. It ends the most predictable way you can think of in a movie like this. It is the same exorcism crap you've seen if you've seen any exorcism movies, but like, it's just still, it's a boring film. It's an hour and 30 minutes long, so it's relatively short for a film like this. But then again, it should have been like, why? Why was this movie even made? It doesn't make sense. Like, I understand, like, okay, it wanted to make, be in theaters, but this is an actual theatrical made film. And I saw the trailer for this movie like months ago, and it was supposed to come out in February, but now it's being released on October. So like I have no idea what. And I saw the trailer many times in theaters, me and my father were like, "When is this movie coming out?" And now here it is, and it sucks. It's not bad. It's not like the worst movie I've seen. This is a nothing film where nothing of merit happens, nothing of excitement happens, nothing of interest happens. It is all just boring. It's a boring movie. It's sluggish, it's bland, it's dull, it's wasted potential. The acting in the movie is for the most part good from the main star and the father. Um, the others I could care less about. I don't know any of these people, so this was a movie where I just did not know anybody who was in this film. So yeah, I didn't care. Then you got the jump scare. Every time a jump scare would happen, I didn't get scared. And normally I got scared of a jump scare sometimes in a movie like Smile, you know, because that was a movie I got scared at, or Nope. But I did not get scared at anything. And this is a PG-13 movie. So it obviously has the PG-13 nonsense jump scares where, you know, it's very quiet and then you'd expect like somebody's behind someone or there's a reflection and it's gone. It's like, oh no, where did it go? It's the same thing you've seen. It's different. It's not anything new. And so I'm just confused as to why Hollywood is pumping out these exorcism movies when they know they're not going to do well at all. Hell, they're making a new one next year, which is actually a remake of the Exorcism, which came out like years ago. It's directed by the guy who did the new Halloween trilogy, which actually gets me a little bit concerned because the last two Halloween movies were not as good as the first 2018 one. And so I don't know. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know how they're going to approach that, but for this movie, it's boring, it's lame, it's dull, it's lazy, it's blah. It's a blah movie. You don't need to go see it in theaters. It has some really bad CGI as well. There's like a scene where she's climbing up on a on like she's climbing up on top of a the girl is possessed and she's climbing up backwards on the wall, and it looks like the worst, like really bad CGI. It doesn't look convincing. And then the movie ends very cliched. It's like, oh, you think it's over? No, it's not. It's you know what's gonna happen. And so yeah, it's a nothing movie. It is nothing. I'd rather watch a bad movie than a nothing film. I'd rather watch I'd rather watch a bad or a good movie than just a movie with nothing in it. It ends kind of in a way where it's like, what? How does it end? It ends with somebody having a jump scare, and the movie, it's like the jump scare is like the person's face zooms in on it, and that's it. Or they go close to the camera, and that's it. That's how it ends. Very stereotypical PG-13 nonsense. Yeah, it's a D plus for me. It's a 3 out of 10. I don't think you need to watch this movie, nor do I think you need to care at all. So yeah, those are two movies already I reviewed that were not good. Maybe this one will be good. This is a movie called Run Sweetheart Run. This was a movie I was really excited about because I saw the trailer, or I saw the trailer years ago in when I went to see The Invisible Man, and it instantly got my attention because I was invested with Blumhouse. I like Blumhouse. You know, I'm entirely on board with anything they got, and they're producing the upcoming Five Nights at Freddy's film, which I'm really excited that they're doing it. They're a go ahead with it. So and I'm just wondering where. Yeah, so they got a bunch of other movies: Soft and Quiet, Nanny, Megan, Sidious, Five, The Exorcist, and then they got a bunch of other films. You know, so So I was really excited for this movie because I think that this movie had a great trailer. It has a good cast with its main lead, Ella Balinska, who I would say if the movie was coming out at the time when it was supposed to come out, it would have been off of the hit Charlie's Angels. I really enjoy that movie. I don't care what anybody says, but it was supposed to come out May 8th, and then it got pushed to nothing. They never gave it a release date. They removed it completely from the schedule, and so nobody knew when this movie was going to come out. And then a bunch of months later, they said Amazon was going to purchase the movie, and then they released it digitally on October 28th. So this movie was supposed to be released in theaters, and it didn't. So this movie, it's pretty much about a date where this woman is a single mom, and she, has a lot on her plate. She's working for her boss, and her daughter is, she needs to care for her daughter. And out of nowhere, he sets her up on a date with this guy. And he's sweet, he's nice, and then there's something wrong with him where he meets a dog and he's like really sketched out by a dog, and it's like, wait, what? And then out of nowhere, he starts to become the biggest creep and the scariest guy you can think of. And so now she's on a run throughout the entire city, I think of LA. I don't know. And so she now has to survive this thing because he does some things in this movie that are absolutely not normal, that are not, that are not what a normal guy would do. And so you have to think about, like, wait, is this guy like a demon? Is he like a creature? Who is he? And so I was excited for this movie. I thought it looked cool, and I was excited that it was going to be released on Prime Video. Speaking of Prime Video, give the Wilds to somebody who will actually give it a third season. Prime, whoever is the head of Prime Video, listen to this. Give that show to somebody who will actually care, and not somebody who will keep it so they won't renew it for a damn third season. Thank you. Again, I will do it every single stream. But like I said, moving on. The movie was a huge letdown for me. I did not enjoy this movie that much. It was a massive disappointment. But I will say there are some good positives about this movie. Um, One of the positives is the fact that I did enjoy the performances for from Ella Balinska, Palu. I gotta recommend this guy's name, Pilu Pilu Aspec. Pilu Aspec. That's what it is. Pilu Aspec. I always thought it was Paulo Asbeck. Pilu Aspec. As the villain. He plays the villain in a lot of things he's done, like Overlord and the other Prime Video movie that came out this year, Samaritan, as Nemesis, or as the enemy or villain. I don't know, I remember the guy's name, but he was a villain. And so this movie, it also stars Agent Coulson, Clark Gregg, as the boss. And so the performances in the movie are actually pretty effective, and they work for me. The movie is also paced really well. It's an hour and 46 minutes long. Yeah, an hour and 46 minutes long, which is relatively short for a horror movie like this. I also like the scenery that they were filming in. It's beautifully shot. I also liked the kills in the movie that were effective. The jump scares were really close and good. And that's really much it. When it comes to characterization, this movie struggles to really give characterization at all. We know from the main girl that she is a single mom, she works at this business, and she's about to go on a date. And she books her boss's anniversary or boss's meeting on the same day as the anniversary. And that's it. there's not a lot of characterization to explain it, because then there's a new character that's introduced, which apparently is her ex, that we have no connection with. There's no chemistry with that. He just randomly shows up later on in the movie. And so we have no characterization. We also don't have any characterization about Ethan himself, who is the villain of the movie, who is kind of hunting Sherry, which is the girl, which is Ella Balinska's character's name. And so we don't know. All we know is that he's just a guy that her boss found online, and there you go. Nothing much. The other characters are just out of place, out of nowhere characters that are trying to be cool for the sake of being cool, and they're not. Um, there's like these people in the film that kind of are like badasses. Like her best friend. Well, I should get into it. Her best friend is in this movie, and she is now dating her ex. Um, and apparently they gave us some background where it's like you slept with my best friend, and the dude's like, no, you broke up with me, and she came on to me, so that's when I took the opportunity. So it's like, okay, drama with that. And so then, you know, we get introduced to all these other characters that are watching a movie, and there's just so annoying, and they don't give us enough information, because then they die. And so, like, this movie, there's also a message here where, like, it's hard to explain. Okay, so the main, like, I don't want to go into spoilers with what Ethan is, because I actually think people should watch this movie for themselves and see how it plays out. But the spoiler of this movie is kind of weird. It's hard to really put fingers on like what the main thing is about this movie and what's it like about. And so I'm just like concerned on that. But the movie's message is pretty much about like, you know, women are they're ready to defend themselves against men like that. And that's a great message. I'm fine with a message like that if it was executed in a way that was good. And it's like if it's not executed in a way that's good, or if it's bad, then the movie sucks. And the message is there, but it's just not good. And then people are going to be like, "Well, you just hate this movie because of this." It's no, it's just, the movie's not good. If the movie's not good, if the message you're portraying in the movie is delivered perfectly, but the movie overall is not good, then there's no connection of that message. Now, if the movie is great and it conveys a good message, then I will recommend it. Then I'm on board. But if the movie's not good and the message is terrible, then it's like, no, I don't really care for this. That's the same thing. That's like there's like a comment talking about like all the some Marvel things that involved, you know, it was like She-Hulk was this, or Black Widow's this, WandaVision was this, Captain Marvel was this, and then the comments said these are all examples of misogyny and stuff. And it's like, no, the movies suck. So if the movie is delivering something that's not as good as what you think it is, then the movie sucks. So that's what this is. If it's not delivering if it's delivering a good message, it's fine. But if the movie portraying it is not as good as what it is, I don't think the movie gave a message that's good. I still think the message is great. You know, is that stand up for yourself. If somebody like that affects you, if somebody like that harms you, you have the right to defend yourself and be powerful. But like, it just comes down to like execution. And if the execution of that is not good, if the execution of that film is not at all perfect, then you screwed up. You honestly screwed up with your attempt to make this movie work. And so unfortunately, I just didn't like the movie that much. It was a disappointment. I'm going to give it a C minus. I'll give a 4 out of 10. And this is one I recommend you skip. But if you really want to watch it, I recommend you watch it, but you shouldn't. It's eh, I don't know. It's a disappointment because I was looking forward to this movie, but it wasn't terrible. I didn't hate it. It's just not. It's below average. It's slightly below average. The other two movies are below average. They're not good. So that is that. Those are the reviews. So now let's get on to the other TV news that we have. Um, and that is this. Um, if I can find it. Okay. One of the shows that I've heard come out um I think last year, like past couple years, that I didn't watch. I don't watch it, but it was based off of something. It was based off of a kids show that had premiered on Nickelodeon, and my internet's not working. Hold on. Okay, I hope it's here. But one of the TV shows that premiered this last year that had a second season this year. I'm still gonna try to find this. Um, is it not on okay, here it is. I was trying to find it, but it's not here. This show is called Wing of Fate, the Winx Saga. So this was based off of a TV show on Nickelodeon that was an animated kids show. That was about these fairies, and Netflix decided to make a live action version of that. Now the problem is that this was kind of like it looked like it was CW, with all these teen, like young adult teams looking like beautiful and pretty and doing some ridiculous nonsense. And of course, there's going to be some love connections. There's going to be some shipping, there's going to be some that. There's going to be some people that are going to make edits of these on Instagram or TikTok or whatever you want to call it. This was a show that was made for the young adult teen audience. And it didn't get good reviews. I saw the trailer. I didn't want to watch it. It was awful, and the first season was not good. So they gave us a second season in September. I never watched it. Don't care to watch it. Don't want to watch it. It's not my thing. I checked out one video on Instagram of one edit, just one edit. Instantly, there's a lot of more of videos recommended on my For You page, and I don't care about that. So So this does not have anything to do because apparently with the CW, it's like, oh, CW is apparently like doing all these cancellations of shows. They're shifting gears like Warner Brothers Discovery. And so that was not that. But the reason why I bring up the CW is because cancellations. Because the Fate Winx Saga was canceled after 2 seasons. And this is what they had to talk about from showrunner Brian Young. And actually, I think this is interesting how this came about because this is really kind of something that Amazon needs to listen to for the Wilds. So here's what one of the showrunners have to say. He said this. This is not fun news to share, but Netflix has decided to not move forward with season 3. This is especially tough because I know how many of you love this season. It's a heartbreaking silver lining, but it's a silver lining all the same. I'm so proud of everyone who worked on the show and so happy we got to tell the stories we did. Our cast and crew put in a ton of hard work creating this world and these characters. I'm grateful for each and every one of them and for all of you for watching. It's been an amazing 4 years. Hopefully we'll see each other again in the future. Again, that's kind of the same feeling with the Wilds, where it's like they have not decided to continue us for a third season, even though we left off on a cliffhanger. Now, here's the thing with this: I don't know if they left off on a cliffhanger because I didn't watch the damn show. So I don't know. But I do know is that this kind of has the same impact with fans of that as much as the fans of the Wilds, where it's like they just cancel it and no reason. Like nobody has talked about like, oh, Netflix explains why they did it, or Prime they explain it, or Hulu, or whatever these companies or streaming services do. They don't explain. They're just like canceled, renewed, canceled. You're not a good show, but we're gonna renew you anyway. Now the thing with this was it actually wasn't a well received show, so I kind of understand that. But there were fans. You're a really good show that got great reviews and nominated for Emmys. We're not going to continue you because we want to focus on other crap content that we can make for our streaming services to get money and make money. That's what they care about. And so it it's weird that that is the thing because there's well here's actually some interesting things about this. It says for this, as some creators have pointed out, strong viewership is not necessarily enough to squeeze a renewal out of Netflix these days. Neil Gaiman said in August that he wasn't confident his hit series The Sandman will receive a second season, despite its chart-topping status. Sandman is a really expensive show, he tweeted at the time, and for Netflix to release the money to let us make another season, we have to perform incredibly well. So yes, we've been in the top show in the world for the last 2 weeks. That still may not be enough. Which is incredibly stupid. Like, they put so much money out for these shows to be made. And it's like, we have so much more that we want to tell. It's like, no, we don't care. We don't care because we're streaming services. We care about money. We care about all this. We care about putting money into things that nobody's going to watch. Like these other Prime Video shows or these other Netflix shows that are like, oh, that's a show? Okay, that's cool. It's like, no, if there's a fan base, they will revolt and they will tell you, hey, that's stupid. Don't do that. That is not okay because I like that. That is dumb what you're doing. And then when they put something new that nobody likes, it's like, that's stupid. I want that, not this, that. And it makes no sense. It makes no sense. Um, another shocking thing that happened is Stargirl. Now let me just be real. It's a CW show, so I understand. Like I understand perfectly. Like I understand perfectly CW, but a lot of things are ending at the CW, like Riverdale and this. So DC's Stargirl is coming to an end. The series will conclude with its third season, which is currently airing on the CW. New episodes will continue to air on Wednesdays through December 7th. So the cancellation of DC Stargirl comes less than a month after Nextstars Media Group completed its acquisition of the network, and it's the latest series coming to an end. It joins like the likes of series such as The Flash, popular show, again. Riverdale, again, popular. Nancy Drew. What the hell is that? Never heard of it, but probably popular. So, and this is weird. I just looked at this glimpse of it. This is weird. Listen to this. So, Deadline understands the team behind DC's Stargirl, like Nancy Drew, was given an early indication. This might be the final season. And to write an ending that would reflect that. So that is even worse than just canceling it because now they are like, okay, we didn't have time. We were going to continue it for more and then we would write it. But now they're giving us a moment to write it early. So it's like, okay, we got to write this now. It's like, that's stupid. That's stupid. So, this is a decision that is thought to have been made by Nextstar executives. So, I don't know. It's weird. I'm gonna you know what? I'm gonna do something else. I'm just gonna look up the wilds again because I'm still on this hate train from I'm still on this hate train from the fact that it was canceled. I'm still, you know, I'm still a little bit upset about that because I am upset. So yeah. But no, nothing new. There there should be. There should be. Nope, there isn't. So so yeah, that's it. That's all the news that I wanted to talk about. And it is funny. It is really interesting that all of this is happening. And it sucks for fans and it sucks for people who put their hard-earned effort into making these shows matter. And that is a horrible thing to do. Where it's like you did so well on that, cutting you out. Oh, we got this other show where it's like the same thing, but it's better because it's actors you don't know, it's people you don't care about, but we're gonna do it anyway. That's my roasting on all these things getting canceled, even though some of them I haven't watched. It's like if there's a fan base and you matter in that, people are gonna go out and they're gonna go on these websites and be like, you know what, I'm gonna make my own without the actors. I'm gonna write it. And it's probably gonna be the best thing everyone's ever seen. And I'm gonna tell people to watch it because it's gonna be better than what you did. So you know what? Screw you, Prime Video. Screw you, Netflix, and all these other CW, because you are pissing off people that made these shows popular. The fan base, the people working on it, the actors themselves. They're getting annoyed. And I think that actors should be standing up for like, we won't want these things to get canceled. We want to continue a story. We want to end a story where we want to end the story and continue the story where we want to continue it. And we want to tell these stories the way we want to. We don't want anybody else telling us. We don't want the network to be like, no, we can't do this. You have to do this and that. That's like the movies industry. That's like what Warner Brothers did. That's what Warner Brothers did with the Justice League. They told them, no, you have to cut this out. You have to do this because we're making a 2-hour movie instead of a 4-hour epicness. No, Marvel. I bet Marvel had a lot to do with Thor: Love and Thunder because Thor: Love and Thunder wasn't that good, and there was probably more to Thor: Love and Thunder than that, and they had to cut out a lot of that movie. And look what happened. So people should be talking about this. People should be making like I was working on this project. I put my heart and soul on it, and they're canceling it because of what? They're not telling anybody. They don't tell anybody. Netflix doesn't tell anybody. That nobody has talked to these companies about why'd you cancel it. It's just we're doing it. Tell them. Tell them the reason why. Is it because viewership's bad, or the reviews aren't good, or some of the actors quit and they're getting older now, so we can't tell a good story like that, or we have to replace somebody, or somebody died? When Luke Perry died on the Riverdale, they continued it. I mean, he was a great character when I was watching Riverdale at the time, and they continued his story and legacy throughout. If something like that happens, that's fine. That's what they do in Wakanda Forever. They rewrote the whole thing because they wanted to tell an emotional event. These shows should not be canceled for no reason. There should be a reason why. And say it. Say it in the reports. And it's baffling to me that people are allowing this to happen and they're not doing anything. They're not doing anything to stop it. And I feel like people need to take a stand and say, hey, we don't want our shows to be canceled because we will come after you. Well, not that, but like we will make our own things and we will tell you, hey, by the way, renew this, renew this, renew this. We're coming at you, renew this. Like that's what they did with the Wilds. Every single comment on Instagram or Twitter, every single Prime post that they did, or every one of the showrunners they did was hashtag save the Wilds or renew the Wilds because people matter. That's what you need to do. That's what you need to do, streaming services, and get your head out of your asses and fix it. Fix it. That's my little rant. Well, guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for watching. That was a really good side to express. But yeah. This weekend I'm probably gonna be doing a lot more reviews. I'm gonna be checking out some movies that I haven't checked out yet. So some of the movies that I'm going to be checking out are, if I can pull them up. are going to be definitely two movies. Enola Hope Enola Holmes 2, Weird, the Al Yankovic story, and then two films that I might review that are like, okay, yeah. Um so yeah. Two surprises then for you guys. But I am going to be talking about the other two. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm way over past the schedule. Um and yeah, this is Western Star Movie Review signing off. And before I go, Wild Season 3, please. Prime Video.